Good day, I'm Philip DeVries, and you're tuned in to a program which we call Our World Today. We're coming to you today from what is called George, South Africa. But on our journey today, we're not going to be talking very much about George. We're actually going to be talking about Durban and something that happened in Durban, South Africa just a few days ago. So I just want to welcome onto the program my friend, Mr. Jacques van der Merwe.
Sir.
Everybody can give him a hand.
Sir Philip,
Yeah,
what a weekend we had last weekend.
it was an above and beyond kind of an expression.
Yo,
I would think that would be a great way of describing everything. And for the sake of our viewers, we're not going to have so much of an interview as we're going to be having quite a discussion about what all happened because, ladies and gentlemen, Jacques van der Merwe, myself, and 9 other individuals spent a lot of time at what is called the Durban International Film Festival. That's one name. There's another one called the Durban Film Mart. And it was quite a spectacular time.
It was. I had the privilege about 3 years ago to attend the Durban Film Mart that happens on the beachfront stretch of Durban, South and North Beach, especially on the northern side at the Elangeni Hotel.
Yeah.
And what I found there was that it's a absolutely spectacular place to network with the industry. I got to know the industry much better while I was there. They host a whole bunch of workshop sessions that you can choose which one. They've got really amazing sessions that you can do. And then in the evenings, they've got wonderful cocktails events. Not that I'm after the cocktails or anything like that.
For sure.
But that would be your prime networking where you can sit one-on-one with a person and discuss whatever they're busy with or what you are doing with. And to give you a little bit more background, sorry I'm speaking a lot because this is really exciting, is that first time that I went, that I was introduced to it, I didn't go with much. I was a one-man show at that stage with a dream. And this time around, sharing this dream with 11 people or then 10 people, I walked in with a municipality, a whole district, a film office behind me, and I will tell you, it was the most amazing feeling. Total different purpose.
Well, that's a great way of describing it. And you use the word networking because that's something which I think I would describe myself as a networker.
Myself as well.
And we love to get out there and try to establish a little bit of a bigger net when all is said and done, because what we're doing here has been totally supported. And I might say, I want to say that from the depths of my heart, that if it wasn't for the Garden Route Film or the Garden Route Municipality and the Mossel Bay Municipality, then something like what we just experienced would not have been possible at all. And I just want to say thank you to the people that made it possible for all of us to be there, because they really, really did us well. And that's a good way of saying it. But networking is one thing to one person like a Jacques van der Merwe. It's quite another thing to a Philip DeVries.
Yes.
Well, networking can be actually a very, very intricate and a very artistic thing, because it also requires something of being sensitive to where people are at, and kind of listening to your little inner voice as well. And in an event like this, where you have hundreds, if not thousands, of people that have gathered together from all walks of life, from all over the world, you have to be very delicate about the way that you go at it. And I think that was part of the whole thing of getting engaged with people on a very consecutive, and I really enjoyed doing that. But with you, I was watching you very carefully because you were kind of bobbing all over the place and making an impression everywhere you went.
I think the big thing for me is you have to be a chancer. And fortunately, I had a running partner with me, Councillor Lisa Strubel,
Yeah,
that's
quite
representing the Garden Route. She learned a lot about the film industry just running with me, but there were some times that she kind of shoved me into a situation, like for instance with the head of CakeNet, Karen Meyering.
Yeah.
She just walked in and said to Karen, "Hello Karen, this is Jacques van der Merwe," and she stepped out and Karen was looking at me and I was like, "Hi, I'm Jacques van der Merwe." And you get into a situation where you get an opportunity to really push through and talk about whatever it is that you presented, and that turned out to be very good contact that we just made there. So you have to take a chance sometimes to get things done.
And part of our time there was actually kind of done away with.
Oh, yes.
Because there was something that happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't believe how long it took for us to get to where we needed to go.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was all because of the vehicle problems that we were having. And
you see, the thing is, as everybody on the show knows, that we do believe that God is in control of our lives.
oh yeah,
And naturally, if you're heading for something really amazing, the devil will give you hard time and challenges to try and discourage you from going that distance. And we experienced that by the vehicle that somebody loaned to us, borrowed, which we're very thankful for because it would have saved us quite a bit of money. But the vehicle broke down, literally not even 100 Ks into our trip. And we really tried to make it work. One of our delegates, Patrick Walton, he's in the racing car industry. So he was on the phone with his mechanic and they talked it through and they tried to make it work. And then after we've traveled a little bit more than 3 hours, the car said, "That's it."
basically it went kaput.
Yes, and we got stuck in a beautiful town by the name Graafrenet.
Yeah, what an amazing place.
It is a beautiful place, not to be stuck in though.
And yeah, for certain, but because it's so far away, right in the middle. But they call it the Pearl of the Karoo, and
It is.
and
it is
that
beautiful.
that Ingekerk was just absolutely
Oh, that's
stunning
beautiful.
from inside and outside.
Yeah.
I mean,
So basically, we lost at least, I would say, 12 hours?
we were
to
there for
about
12 hours.
18 hours.
Yeah.
Of which we missed out on the red carpet event.
Yes.
But luckily, Lika and her husband, Clyde, was there, so they could attend the event for us.
Yeah.
And I distinctly remember standing there that morning and really feeling so discouraged because now going to this and organizing this, I had an experience at the Durban Film Mart a couple of years ago. And the question still remains in my thoughts, will this group of delegates experience something similar? Will they have the same experience as I did? And now this is happening. Is it really worth? Do we turn around? Do we just go back? I mean, you really get discouraged with something like this.
Yeah.
And then we decided to push through.
And I'm so glad that we did just that, because these kind of experiences teach you over a long period of time, in my case, and that you don't get intimidated by these obstacles that come your way. You've made your plans, and there was no way that we could have just resigned on the spot and said, let's give up on this, because there was a pressing through, and I'm glad. Because you talked about Lika and Clyde, and that was really an amazing experience because they stayed in the same flat that you and I stayed in. And at the same time, there was this whole team that was up there that was making a tremendous impact.
Let's talk about the team quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, because our team wasn't just straight through the same people. It wasn't just a group with one purpose. We had about, 5 youngsters?
Yeah.
Brand new in the industry, filmmakers that went through to experience the industry. And then we had 4 of the board of directors on it, and an accompanying husband, which was really cool, which was Clyde.
Right.
Yeah.
And Clyde was just one of those guys that I knew about him a lot because he's done a lot of work with my son over the years and in Cape Town. But to have the chance to be able to interchange with him, what an amazing guy.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so the fun part about this was that a group like this as we started calling them, the youngsters
Yes.
could go and do the sessions.
Yes.
And then it just so happened that God had amazing appointments for all of us. We started negotiating, we started networking, we had specific meetings on the outside with a couple of really movers and shakers in the industry, and started organizing stuff.
There were any amount of actors and actresses that were there, but it was also that expo was also something. I mean, it was not that
Yes.
big, but it was interesting to be able to go in there, and especially that that visual experience. What do you? I forget what you call it.
The 3D experience,
3D.
virtual reality
Oh
experience.
my word!
Now-
I have to see this video that was taken of me when I was in that, because that must have been funny to watch.
Now, we missed out on that one because everybody was running around doing different meetings, but you guys went to this booth that they introduced virtual reality and stuff.
Yes. And that's all part of the industry. I mean, these are the things that are coming down the road, and it's something which we all need to embrace as part of the bigger picture, but taking like these 360 angle cameras. I mean, you get a 360 degree angle. What a pleasure.
Yeah,
and then they make that into a 3D experience. Oh my word.
Don't rock the boat. So yes, the different booths that they had. I saw that Westgrow was there, Namibia was there, and they all present the work that they do to show the opportunities that's available to filmmakers out there. So it's not a question of just going to the different sessions, but you can also then go and visit one of these booths and talk to them. And that's why I think personally, going to a film festival is the best way of advertising, because we had a whole coming together of a lot of movers and shakers in the industry, and you're in one spot and you just basically make connections and see what you can get done. And I think in Lisa's situation, for her being a counselor with the municipalities, she got to see firsthand how the industry works, and she got more info on the dynamics and just the great potential that the industry has to offer to our region, for instance.
And can act actually as a mover and a shaker on our behalf.
Yeah.
Having experienced that in depth, the way that she did, she was a lot of fun to be around, but so was everybody else. I mean, man.
It was a really good
Oh
crew.
my. I mean, we laughed. We had times of laughter and times of singing, and I mean,
singing.
oh my word.
And this was without any cocktails. I just
Yeah, I
gotta
mean, that was the point. It was just so spontaneous.
yes, absolutely.
When you're in that kind of a sequence of life, it just naturally flows. And there was this generative spirit, which I wrote about because each of us have been asked to give a one-page report. But one of the things that I was pointing out there was that we were able to have the capacity to meet with people that were basically asking a lot of questions, but at the same time, we're also expressing the desire to come into our region, because that's what we're there for.
And a lot of them didn't know that the region is open for business.
Yeah.
You see, once again, a good reason why it's good to go out there and meet people face to face, because it's one thing sending an email afterwards. But if I have to send an email to somebody in Joburg saying, hey, we're open for business, come and have a look, they're most probably not even going to see the email, because they receive between 300 to 1,000 emails a day, for instance.
Yeah.
But when you're in a film festival,
Yeah.
and especially the cocktail events, and not only the cocktail events, the networking events, we had the film board for
Film and Publication Board.
yeah, they just hosted an afternoon lunch introducing themselves, and we did major networking there, because once again everybody enjoys a meal and
you know
talking.
you know what impressed me about that crowd? Very basic individuals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing fancy, no hyper anything. It was just down to earth, and I love that kind of an atmosphere. But at the same time, I love the fact that they said, we're not a censorship board, but we're here to protect our kids.
That's a main focus that they've got.
Hit me
That
between
is so
the eyes.
cool.
And that told me straight out, ladies and gentlemen, hear this. It's time for much more programming that is child-centered, that you don't have to be afraid of.
Yes, yes. Because now we're getting back to my previous job, being a youth worker.
Yes.
I mean, your kids, and I actually want to say this towards parents. Your job as a parent is so crucial. You cannot let it slide for anything. You will make mistakes, because we all make mistakes.
Obviously.
But the first line of defense is that you have a relationship with your kid to such a degree that you can be very comfortable telling them and teaching them and coaching them what is appropriate for them to watch and what is not appropriate to watch. Because unfortunately, as you know, there are so many programming out there that is not healthy, that is not wholesome, and these guys are doing their utter best to guide parents on what can kids watch and what they cannot watch. But you as parent still need to do the thing of telling the kids and making it happen. You are the parent, you need to enforce it. These guys are trying their best to make it happen. You need to respond on that.
Well, the part that we've always said, which the world is trying to take away from us, is that the primary influence in a child's life is the parents, not the teachers, the parents.
Yes, yes.
And that's why it's important to provide that kind of mentoring, that kind of input, wherever it's possible, to kind of be there as the hand of God, so to speak, into any particular context. I just got to thinking about some things that I saw coming from out of there. I don't know if you saw it, but it certainly to me was very obvious that the whole desire in the film industry to make documentaries, I mean, that really stood out.
Yeah.
And everywhere that I went, I saw documentaries, and people are looking for that, and there's finance there from different resources.
But let's just look a little bit backwards. Okay, so what is film all about? At the end of the day, film, television, all of that thing, all of those stuff, it's telling stories. And I mean, that's come since forever. People love telling stories around a fire, under a tree, write it on pieces of rock. You want your story to be told. Now we've got this great medium of visual media.
Yes, quite right.
Where we can tell the story. Do you remember in the day, when everybody was sitting next to the radio, listening at radio dramas, because there were no television?
In the day, which I really think in 2019 should still be around.
True. So even then, and now we've got visual media. Everybody loves stories.
Yes.
Now, story is not only news, because we love news, because you love to see what's happening all over the world. You love to watch a sci-fi story or a romantic story or whatever. But now, like for instance, that beautiful television channel, which name I cannot always say.
It was a very wonderful lady by the name. Her surname is Haddad. Haddad, which is a name you hear a lot in Lebanon, but it's called Al Jazeera.
Al Jazeera. Now, for some reason, ladies and gentlemen, I keep on forgetting that name, and it's crazy. Now Stefan, that's working with me at Heartland Broadcasting, which is actually behind the switcher at the moment, he had the most amazing experience with her, and he's so psyched about telling stories because she put it down, laid it down on the table.
Absolutely.
What we want are
minimum
real
of 25
stories.
minutes.
Stories. So finally, we can share somebody's story out of the Garden Roots internationally.
Yeah, guess what? I mean, Al Jazeera is not a small network. It's one of the biggest in the whole world, actually. Centered, actually the headquarters is in Qatar. Yeah. But Al Jazeera is a very, very huge network. And it gives you the opportunity to actually put some amazing material that can be a huge blessing all over the place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So no, it was a great experience. How did you experience the young people that went with us?
I can only say this. I use one word, and I've said it frequently since I've been back, and that is, these young people were superstars.
They were.
They were superstars. They plugged in. They were energetic. They were generative of a certain kind of a joy that came out of them. They were able to bring us all into a place where they gave us a lot of confidence, but they also went into places that we couldn't even imagine that they would go into, because their job was basically to spread the word about Garden Route Film Office.
Yeah.
And I think they did a resplendent job of that.
Yeah. What I really appreciated was Patrick Walton. That's one of the board members of the
Yes.
Garden Film Office.
Yeah.
He immediately jumped in and started coaching these youngsters on how to work a film festival.
Absolutely.
And the first day, I can remember, he sat with us. Now, I mean, Patrick, you would not expect. Patrick, he does productions for Warner Brothers, The Bachelor, Bachelorette for Switzerland and Sweden, all those.
Yep.
You know, you would kind of expect him to have a little bit of air around him.
Not
he
even
was,
slightly.
He was right in there, and he was like, the first thing that I remember was, okay, so how many business cards do you have? And I like it. No, but we've got this flyer, this flyer, this flyer. No, business cards.
Business cards.
And then they started reacting to what he was coaching them on.
Yes.
And they started bringing business cards. And you see, when you get a business card, it's not like just you go and say, hey, can I have your business card? You actually have to have a discussion with somebody and say, hi, my name is Jacques. I'm from the Garden Route Film Office. We're open for business. What do you do? And there's interaction. Please, can I have your business card? Can I give you my business card? So the youngsters.
Yes,
they really
thank you
got
very
some
much.
Great exposure.
They really did. Highlights for you. What do you? I'm curious.
Okay.
How many?
I think my number one highlight would be, now, naturally we did the networking outside of the sessions.
Yes.
I think my no, I don't have a number one. One of my highest ones that really made an impression, we need gear in the Garden Route for big productions to come in.
Yes.
And I've been having quite a difficult time getting through to the right person at Media Film Services.
Yes.
And Patrick called me and he said, have you speak to Haley yet from Media Film Service?
Yep.
I'm like, no, but I know that they should be here. I want to speak to them. He said, okay, quickly, meet her here. And I went and I sat with her, and something that took me 3 months to try and get organized took me 5 seconds, and we had a deal signed
Right
and
there.
delivered.
Yep.
That was amazing for me. One of the editors that we're going to be using on one of the shows that Heartland is planning, I got to meet him in person. Because of the booklet that they gave, he went through all the contacts that were there, and he called me. He said, hey, I see your smiley face on the list. Are you here? I said, yeah. He said, do you have time? And we met up. And he introduced me to his business partner. And we got to talk about the production. And then he was like, but hold on. We've got 3 other productions that we're working on. And we cannot tell you anything, because that's one line that you hear a lot in the industry. I can't tell you everything now, but, are you guys interested? Of course we're interested. Are you coming to the Garden Route for this? So those are... I must say, the networking outside, the cocktail event, that was good because we met a whole bunch of people.
Yes.
I do want to hear about one of your highlights, because if the meeting with the head of the NVF, Philip Molefe, chairman, if that wasn't a highlight for you, then I don't know what happened.
Well, I was going to say, I didn't have a whole lot of highlights except for that one.
Yeah.
And the reason why that was is because here's one of the most powerful men in the land, but he's also a friend for many, many years. And so not knowing whether or not he was going to be there, and then finding out that he was there, we are doing a fair amount of business together in the city of George, and we've been needing a session to be able to get a whole lot of business coming to this region. So we were able to have approximately 5 hours
Wow, nice.
of conversations with him. And even since that time, there's been conversations which I believe are going to be a watershed economically for this whole region that we live in. So I'm extremely grateful for the way that the NFVF is actually awake and alive to what's going on here.
Yes.
But at the same time, they're also becoming a challenge to some of the people that have been holding back from this area, if you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
So yeah, that was really it. And I think maybe some of the lessons that we've learned from out of all of this is that maybe in the future we're going to have to increase our budget to, instead of driving, that we're going to have to fly and buy the tickets well in advance so
Yes,
that we
yes.
can
But I think
get it sorted out.
this was our first one that we did. And
Yeah.
as we've mentioned to some of the other board members, this is going to give us a good idea what it would look like if we take a group like this again. I think it was well worth taking the group as we were. But I think we'll restructure and things for other events, because I think this is a great learning school. But now we need to send them almost out 2 by 2 and going through.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going now to the Atlanta Hollywood South Festival to
Film
represent us.
festival.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, this was a good first run for you to see how that works. And I think we've seen how you go about working, and I'm very excited for you on that one. The team overall, I have to say, after being very, very nervous at the beginning, whether or not they're going to experience something like I did, if I look at the youngsters that joined us, they had not only an amazing time, but how they jumped to this opportunity was absolutely amazing. And I want to give a shout out to them because they really did good. If I can say something about Councillor Lisa Struble, Lisa really stepped up and she learned a lot and
did.
things, which I'm very excited because she is representing us.
Yes.
And then Patrick, Lika, and Clyde, which is our professionals, you could say, our actors, they really stepped up big time
Yes.
and did a really good job. And then me and we just networked like crazy.
We were right on it, but we couldn't have done what we did without having the amazing team that was there, and I want to express that.
Yeah.
And that includes the man that's on the switcher this afternoon, which is
Stefan.
Mr. Stefan Klopper.
Klopper. he's going to be mad. Anyways, so yeah. Sir Philip.
We need to wind this up, my friend.
Yes, we do. Unfortunately, we do have some bad news.
We have to make an announcement.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are not going to be able to continue doing Our World Today in this format any longer. We're asking you to please pray that we will be able to revive what is happening, but in this format, this is our final chapter in this kind of a setting. And I'm asking that you would help us to just make this into a matter that we'll be able to come back again, and we will be certain to make announcements on Facebook. But as far as YouTube is concerned, we won't be here for a period of time. Can't say what it is, how long it is at this point of time, but nevertheless, if you just keep in touch with us on Facebook with Our World Today, we have our own page. We'll make sure that we put a word on there. And otherwise, look at my page on Facebook with Philip P. de Vries, and we will be sure to keep announcements coming. And if we change formats, yes, we will let you know well in advance so that we can come back together again. Having said all that, thank you, Jacques van der Merwe.
It was awesome being here.
Been great to do this, and thank you for always giving us the provision that we can get on with the job of doing Our World Today. But let's hope that when we come back with Our World Today, that it'll be a very, very sophisticated and advanced kind of a scenario.
So do we consider this as our season finale?
Season finale for now.
For
Yes.
now, and we'll be back.
We'll be back.
We'll be back.
Thank you very much. The Lord bless you and keep you and make his face shine upon you. And until we meet again, au revoir, tot ziens, goodbye for now.